Hi, my name is Sarah, and my mom is my best friend. She's amazing. She's a doctor, and she's raising me all by herself. She gives me everything I could want and need. I want to be just like her when I grow up. Do you look up to your mom too? Please don't forget to click the like and subscribe buttons. Thanks! I couldn't wait for school to end. It was my birthday the next day, and Mom said that I was going to get the newest smartwatch after her shift at the hospital, a few blocks away from the mall, when her phone rang.
Dr. Johnson.
A panicky voice from the car speaker said,
Jade is giving birth right now. We're not going to make it to the hospital.
Mom quickly turned a corner. She told the man that she was on her way.
Sorry, honey. It's a good thing that we're close to their house. We can go shopping after.
I quickly nodded. My mom made another call and instructed the hospital to send an ambulance right away. Mom stopped the car and jumped out. I followed her into the house. A very pregnant woman was kneeling beside the couch, and there was a puddle of water under her legs. Mom ran over to the woman and asked her husband for some clean towels.
It's all right, Jade. I'm here, and it's time for you to push.
I watched in awe by the door. The woman was crying and pushing and screaming. Her husband was sweating and running around with a ton of towels. It was chaos. My mom was the only calm person in the room. Suddenly, I heard another sound break through the screens and pants. It was the sound of a crying baby.
She's here. Your daughter has arrived.
Mrs. Jade gasped when my mom handed her the baby. My jaw dropped when I realized that I'd just seen one being born. It was scary and incredible at the same time. The ambulance arrived a few minutes later, and my mom gently patted Jade's hand.
Everything's fine.
She added with a gentle smile.
I'll check in on you at the hospital.
We headed back to our own car. Mom said that we'd have to go home first so she could change.
Are you all right, honey? You look pale.
I guess I did. I was still in shock. You were amazing, Mom. You didn't freak out at all. That woman looked like she was in so much pain. But the moment you handed her the baby, it seemed like she forgot about everything else. My mom squeezed my hand.
That's how I felt when I gave birth to you. It's joy and pain all at once, and it's all worth it, especially if your child ends up being a wonderful daughter like you.
She added that around 250 babies are born every minute. Wow, that means that there are 250 soon-to-be mothers going into labor right now. I gasped. No wonder my mom was doing so well as an obstetrician. She delivered a new baby every few days. Mom headed for the shower as soon as we got home. While I waited for her, the phone rang. It was my dad. You're not going to believe what I saw today. And I told him about watching my mom do her work. Dad laughed and proudly proclaimed that my mom was amazing.
When your brother Josh was born, Emma was screaming and miserable too, until she held him in his arms. When can you come and visit anyway? He misses you already.
I promised that I would visit my dad and his new family soon. I loved playing with my half-brother Josh. He was so cute. My dad's wife, Emma, wasn't so bad, but it still bugged me that my parents had never married, and Emma wasn't half as amazing as my mom. After a few weeks, Mom came home looking very excited.
I got promoted. I'm going to be head of the department.
I was so happy for her, and when I found out she wasn't going to be working as much, I was so happy for me too. It meant that we could spend more time together. It was great. We had picnics and played frisbee in the front yard. I was standing by the porch when the frisbee came whizzing my way. I jumped, but I must have landed wrong. The next thing I knew, a lump appeared on my forehead.
Sarah?
Mom cried as she ran towards me. I think I hit my head on the edge of the step. It really hurts. Mom cleaned up my wound. She said it wasn't deep and I just needed to apply pressure to it. She made me some of my favorite mac and cheese and sent me to bed early that night. I remember thinking that I was the luckiest girl in the world for having such an amazing mother. But sadly, our fun times ended that day. The next few months were busy time at the hospital. Mom was rarely home. She left early and came home late. I started to complain about never seeing her anymore. She still keeps giving me gifts, but I didn't want a new camera or another new phone. I just wanted her. I couldn't talk to her anymore because she never had time for me. When I turned 14, things got even worse. Mom couldn't be with me on my birthday. I had to stay with my dad for a few days while Mom was at a conference. I could see that Emma was trying to be nice, but I didn't want her. I wanted my mom.
I made your favorite, mac and cheese.
She proudly said. I took a bite, but I spit it out immediately. Ew! This tastes gross. It's not like Mom's mac and cheese at all. Dad got mad when I said that I gave him the side eye while he and Emma played with little Josh. If he hadn't married that awful Emma, he would have married my mom, and maybe she wouldn't have to work so hard all the time. I was counting down the hours until Mom arrived to pick me up. Then the phone rang. It was Mom, but she said she was running late. I got so mad at her for making me wait again. When I get home, she said,
We'll go on a vacation, just the two of us. Okay? I promise. You're gonna have a great time.
but I was sick of her promises. I don't believe you anymore. I don't care if you don't ever come home. When you're here, you don't even notice me. I wish you weren't my mother. I slammed the phone down and ran to my room. I was so mad at everyone. Dad tried to talk to me, but I didn't open the door. Finally, he left. But after an hour, he was back again.
Sarah!
He cried with a voice I'd never heard him use before.
We have to go to the hospital.
I couldn't believe my ears when he explained that Mom was in the hospital. She had gotten into a car crash just an hour ago. But I just talked to her. I cried. I was so scared the whole time in the waiting room. I was terrified for my mom. And deep down, I knew it was my fault. Mom probably got so upset after I screamed at her. That was the reason she got into a crash. I wanted to tell her that I didn't mean what I said. I wanted to tell her that I loved her so much they wouldn't even let me see her. An hour later, finally, a doctor came out and talked to us.
I'm sorry, she's in a bad way. We're doing everything we can, but I don't think it's going to be enough. You have to prepare yourself for the worst.
I turned to my dad. Well, what did he mean by that? I gasped. Dad couldn't even look me in the eye. He quietly told me to pray for Mom. I couldn't take it anymore. I knew my mom was suffering, and it was all my fault. I couldn't stop the tears. I stumbled away and ran as fast as my legs could take me to the exit. Outside, I found myself by a bus stop, and I got on the first bus that passed, not caring where it took me, as long as it was far away from here. Hours passed into days. I can't remember how I got where I was. The only real thing I felt was the hard bench I slept on and the gaping hole in my chest where my heart used to be. I was to blame for everything. It hurt so much to remember the last thing I said to her. How could I be such a terrible person after everything my mom had done for me? I was just sitting and staring into space when I heard the scream. Right in front of me, sprawled on the curb, was an older girl with a bleeding forehead. I jumped up and ran over to her. Hold still. Let me check if it's deep. Thankfully, the wound was shallow. I took off my jacket and told the girl to apply pressure on it. Then I asked if there was a place where we could wash it.
I sleep in the women's shelter. It's just a few blocks away.
The shelter was a dirty place, and it was very crowded. But at least there was running water and soap in the bathroom. After a while, the girl calmed down.
Thanks, I was so scared I thought I'd split my skull open.
For the first time in a long time, I smiled. It felt nice to help someone.
Do you have a place to stay? My name is Maggie. You can stay in the shelter with me if you want.
Maggie and I became friends. She brought me to a soup kitchen where we ate a hot meal. She led me to a church basement so I could find a jacket. Maggie was nice, and for a while I forgot that I was homeless and alone. But no matter what I did, I could never forget the last words I ever spoke to my mom. I told Maggie that I ran away, but I didn't tell her why. Life went on that way for a long time. It was hard to accept my new life, but I had no other choice. The shelter was always full of girls who had run away or who were in trouble. There was a young mom named Stella who had a little boy. She said that she used to have a small apartment and that she worked 3 jobs just to pay for rent and food. But it wasn't enough. She lost her home, and now she was struggling to feed her little boy.
But no matter where we end up, as long as my baby Jasper is with me, we'll be fine.
I couldn't help but think about my mom when I looked at her. Mom worked so hard just to give me a good life. But I could see now that I was ungrateful, spoiled, and mean. If I'd been a better daughter, I would still be with her. A few months later, I noticed that Maggie had started throwing up a lot. At first, I thought she had food poisoning. It's not the food.
I think I'm pregnant.
I was shocked. Maggie was just a few years older than me. How was she going to have a baby in this situation? Poor Maggie was miserable the whole time. She was too tired and too weak to do anything. All she did was sleep while her belly grew bigger. I did everything I could just to make life easier for her, but Maggie was having a really hard time with her pregnancy. Thankfully, the shelter allowed her to stay. They told me that I could stay for as long as I liked too. But that was because I was the only one who could tie a bandage or examine the injuries of girls who just arrived. We became family, but I never really belonged there. Monsters like me don't deserve to belong anywhere. Another few months went by. Then one night, Maggie woke up everyone with her screams.
It hurts so bad.
She yelled. The other girls shrink back in fear, but I couldn't. Maggie was my friend. I held her hand while she screamed in pain. Then her water broke.
How? I think the baby is coming now.
I was terrified, but I was the only one who could help her. I asked the girls to find clean towels. As I looked at Maggie's anguished face, I remembered the other woman, Jade. My mom delivered her baby in the living room. It's all right, Maggie. I'm here, and it's time for you to push. She did, over and over again. In a matter of minutes, the baby came. I wrapped the baby in a clean towel and handed it to her. Like Jade, she forgot that she had just been screaming a few seconds ago. She forgot that she was in a shelter. She forgot that she was broke. All that mattered was that little baby in her arms. I couldn't believe what I'd just done. And I couldn't believe the transformation on Maggie's face. I was so relieved when someone said that the ambulance was here. Maggie kept insisting that I go to the hospital with her. Then the doctors checked her and the baby out. After a few moments, the doctor came to talk to me.
Maggie said that you delivered her baby. How old are you?
I told her I was only 16. To be honest, I was so scared. It happened so quickly, but now I'm just exhausted. The doctor laughed and told me that I did a good job. I felt really proud. Then I wondered if my mom would have been proud of me too if she knew. Maggie went back to the shelter a few days later. She kept thanking me, and she said she'd name the baby after me. She also went back to her parents' house. It was different now that little Sarah was here. Then she told me that a TV news crew had interviewed her at the hospital, and that's how her parents had found her. I think that's how my dad found me too. He and Emma arrived a few days later to take me home. My dad hugged me so tightly. I wanted to tell him about everything that had happened, but no words came out. I could only cry. Emma wiped away my tears.
It's time to go home now, Sarah.
And I nodded. So we got back into the car and drove home. But after a few hours, I realized that we weren't going back to their house. We were on a long road with big longs on both sides of the street. My breath caught in my throat. It looked like we were driving to the cemetery. I can't do this right now, I said, and I began to panic. My dad was firm.
It's time to face it. You've run away long enough.
I wanted to apologize to my mom, but I didn't think I was ready to see her grave.
Everything's going to be fine. Don't worry.
Dad parked the car, and they led me towards a building. I was confused. Why was there a building in the middle of a cemetery? We walked down a series of corridors and knocked on a door. It took some time for it to open, but when it did, I gasped. Mom was inside. She was very thin, but she was alive. I'm so sorry. I gasped and I ran to hug her.
You've gotten so big. I was so worried about you. Please don't blame yourself for the accident,
Mom said, while she stroked my cheek.
A car crashed into mine while I was driving home. I can't walk anymore. But it's not your fault, Sarah.
Suddenly, Mom made a fist and banged it on the bed.
How I wish I could take care of you, but I can barely take care of myself.
I took Mom's hand. Even in her state, her main concern was taking care of me. Then everything I saw about mothers and their children flashed through my mind. Emma with Josh, Stella with her son, and even Maggie with her new daughter. Mom, it's time to go home together. You looked after me better than any mom ever could, and now it's time for me to do the same for you.
Hi, I'm Mandy. Please like and subscribe, and tomorrow you will have the best news. Growing up, we moved around a lot because my parents were journalists. I got really good at making friends quickly, but holding on to any of them was tough since I always ended up leaving. No matter how many of my so-called besties promised they'd stay in touch. After a while, they never did. It was heartbreaking every time. One day, Mom came home with big news. She got a job in Washington, D.C. for a national newspaper, and we wouldn't have to move anymore. I was so excited. Finally, I would have rooms of our own to decorate, make friends that would last. It was a dream. When I started at my new high school, I was nervous. I had to make an amazing first impression because this one had to stick. When I sat down at my desk in the homeroom, the other kids looked at me like I was an alien until a pretty brunette girl sat down next to me.
Hey, I'm Jasmine. Love your jeans. Where'd you get them?
A thrift store in New York.
Oh my god. Is that where you're from?
Sort of. I told her all about life on the road, and we hit it off right away. I could tell she was popular, and it was easy to see why. Very involved in all sorts of clubs and sports. So charming, and top 2 of our class. She was always competing for the top spot against this one kid, Chase. She warned me about how annoying he was, and I totally agreed. I was stuck next to him in math class, and he was always talking and distracting me from taking notes. From the second we met, Jasmine invited me everywhere with her and her friends. We did our homework together, ate lunch, had sleepovers. It was amazing! Soon after I started school, Jasmine convinced me to come to her French club to see if I wanted to join. She introduced me to her friend Camille, and we had so much fun. We watched French movies and practiced speaking with each other. I joined immediately. They were going to choose 2 students for a summer study abroad in Paris. I just knew it would be a really smart move for my future. One day, I went to Camille's house to study with her, and suddenly, the cutest boy I'd ever seen walked into her kitchen.
Hey, butthead.
Excuse me?
Sorry, that was meant for my dumb little sister.
Ugh, don't listen to him.
I'm Ryan. You must be the famous Mandy I've heard so much about.
Don't you have somewhere else to be?
Nowhere better than right where Mandy is.
Then he smiled the most perfect smile I'd ever seen. I could have melted into a puddle right there. The next day at French Club, I told Jasmine all about him. Oh my god, Jazz! He's on the soccer team. Good at school.
Wow, he sounds like...
He perfect package. OMG, he's here. She turned to see Ryan walk into the room right then suddenly. Her eyes turned to ice in front of me.
Ryan? He's my ex.
Oh!
But, I mean, if you like him, I guess.
No, of course I wouldn't.
Oh, good, because it'd be so weird. I'm so glad we're friends.
What are you all talking about?
Oh, nothing. It's nice to see you again.
Since when are you in French Club?
Since I found out Mandy joined.
It was so awkward I thought I'd die. Just then, Madame Delacroix clapped her hands.
For announcement time for our upcoming Parents' Night, we will be breaking off into pairs to research and cook a classic French dish.
She started group. And surprise! Surprise! I got paired with Ryan. For just a second, I thought I could see the ice return to Jasmine's eyes, but she blinked, and it was gone. I felt sort of guilty that I'd be spending so much time with Ryan, but I vowed to keep my promise to Jasmine. Soon after that, I got assigned to help Chase hand out awards at the banquet. Hanging out with him all night would be the perfect punishment for me. A few days later, Ryan and I had to get together at his house to make chocolate mousse, my favorite.
Have you ever made this before?
No, but I've watched my dad make it, so I think Then I started the mixer. It started whipping everything up so fast that our chocolate mixture started flying out of the bowl. Soon we were both covered in chocolate. I was mortified, but Ryan just laughed and swiped some chocolate off my nose.
Looks good to me.
After we got cleaned up, we managed to make a second batch just in time to make it to the event. Madame Delacroix tasted every dish and said ours was the best of all of them. I was pretty proud, and I hoped it would get me some extra points toward the Paris program. Not even having to sit next to Chatterbox Chase all night could ruin my mood. After that, Ryan started asking me to hang out more and more. Soccer games, study sessions, sometimes even trips for ice cream. He was really funny, and we liked all the same books. I could tell he liked me, and I was really starting to like him. But I couldn't betray Jasmine. When I told my mom about it, she thought I was being ridiculous.
I don't think Jasmine really has your best interests at heart, Mandy.
She was my first friend here.
But that doesn't make her a good friend. What kind of friend keeps you from being with someone you really like?
It's girl code. So I was definitely surprised the next day, at lunch, when our group started talking about boys to hear Jasmine exclaim,
"Who needs them? I've so moved on from Ryan. I mean, we only dated a few weeks anyway. Mandy, you can have him for all I care."
I was elated to hear her say that, but now I was nervous. I'd never really pursued anyone before, but all the signs were there, and I decided to go for it. Soon after, Ryan hurt his ankle at a soccer match and had to leave the field. We lost. I decided to visit him the next day, especially now that Jazz had given her blessing. When I walked into his living room with some cheery daisies, his whole face lit up, and he pulled me down to the couch in a huge hug. When we pulled away, I felt like I was falling into his beautiful brown eyes. I thought for just a second I might get my first real kiss, but I chickened out. I brought some ice cream too for Sundays.
You're the best, you know that?
We watched TV and ate way too much ice cream, but things felt a little different. He was texting almost constantly, when he usually was always talking to me non-stop. I wondered if I had ruined things by pulling away earlier. I tried to ignore it, but when my mom came to get me, I was sort of glad to leave. For the next few days, I tried to keep my head down and work hard towards the Paris trip, but I was glad for the distraction when Jasmine announced her birthday party to the whole class.
Arcade this weekend. My birthday wish list is on all the invites.
You going?
Of course. Jazz is my best friend.
Sure she is.
Cryptic much. You're so weird. I caught up with her in the hallway after. Can I hitch a ride to your party? This will be so fun. I already have your gift.
My carpool is full already.
Oh, okay. I'll just... But she was already halfway down the hall, leaving me in her dust. I figured she was just distracted about her party and tried not to think about her weird behavior. I texted Ryan to see if he and Shamil wanted to carpool, but all I got were 3 typing bubbles in response, and then nothing. In fact, I didn't hear anything from anyone all weekend. What was going on Saturday, when my mom dropped me off at Arcade, a gift in hand for Jasmine, I pasted a big smile on my face as I got out of the car. Chase waved to me and smiled. He really wasn't so annoying, maybe just a little awkward. As we walked into the party room, imagine my shock when I saw Jasmine's stick standing there holding hands with none other than Ryan. A pit dropped to the bottom of my stomach. When she leaned over to kiss him, I thought I'd die. All I wanted to do was run home and curl up under the covers, but I couldn't. It was Jasmine's birthday, my best friend. Still, I was mortified. Everyone knew I liked him, and they had all seen us spend so much time together. Now, he wouldn't even look at me. As everyone started pairing off and heading to the arcade, I realized I didn't have a partner. Blinking back tears, I suddenly felt a warm hand on my shoulder.
Hey, let's pair up for a round.
Sure. Chase and I played through, and even though I had a pit in my stomach, we actually had a lot of fun. He was pretty good, and even when I danced offbeat, he pretended not to see it. When we went inside for Jasmine's cake, I tried to put on a brave face, but when Ryan leaned over to help her blow out her birthday candles and Jasmine turned to smile at me with a gleam in her eye like nothing was wrong, I knew I had to leave. I snuck out to the bathroom to call my mom to get me, and as soon as I got into her car, I burst into tears and cried all the way home. And even though Chase texted me to check on me, and Camille did too, the one person who I actually thought would worry enough to reach out never did. I didn't hear from Jasmine until Monday in homeroom.
Mandy, why'd you leave my party? The cake was so good.
Why did I leave? Jasmine?
What?
You have to know why I left.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You knew I liked Ryan. You told me you'd moved on, and all of a sudden you show up with him without telling me.
How can you be mad? He was my boyfriend.
Your ex-boyfriend that you said I could pursue. Why tell me that if you wanted him back all along?
See, this is why we kept it quiet. We knew you'd be upset.
What?
We got back together the day he got hurt at his soccer match. He wanted to tell you, but we all knew you'd just be upset.
So you've just been lying to me for weeks? All of you. Jazz, how am I supposed to trust anything any of you say?
All's fair in love and war.
And with that, she flipped her hair over her shoulder and switched desks. I was devastated. My first real friend. And everything had gotten so messed up. What had I missed? When I saw Ryan walking home from school, I sped up to catch him. What the heck, Ryan? I thought we liked each other. And then you show up like that with Jasmine and totally blindside me.
I didn't know you liked me.
Oh, come on. The ice cream, the flowers. You knew I liked you. There have been several moments and I didn't just imagine that you liked me, too.
I did, but you never said anything.
Well, neither did you.
And then when Jasmine came to me after I got hurt saying she wanted to get back together, why would I turn her down when I wasn't even the one to break up with her?
Like me. Don't like me? Fine. But you could have had the decency to say something before just showing up like that and humiliating me. I deserve better than that. I tried to put on a brave face at school. After all, hadn't I been a lone wolf for my whole life? But I'd gotten so used to having a friend at school that I suddenly felt the absence. Luckily, Chase came to sit by me the first time he saw me sitting alone at lunch. I couldn't see why I'd hated him so much for so long, other than the fact that Jasmine didn't like him. He was so sweet and really smart. Even though I avoided Jasmine and Ryan at all costs, I refused to quit French club. As the weather got nicer, Chase tried to get me to come out to soccer games, parties, concerts. But my sole focus was on school. I was more determined than ever to get one of the spots to go to Paris and prayed that Jasmine wouldn't get the other one. Chase became my favorite study buddy. He was almost as determined as I was for me to win the top spot on the Paris trip. On the last day of school, our report cards came out straight A's. Chase and I got big ice cream sundaes after school to celebrate. As I looked across the table at him, I thought about everything that had happened with Jasmine and Ryan and our whole big group, and I decided I was so glad to have one actual good friend instead of a bunch of not-so-great ones. Afterwards, Chase and I walked down the National Mall as the sun set. So, Mr. Number 1 in the class, how does it feel?
I'm just glad to have beat her, to be honest, especially after everything that happened with you.
I can take care of myself.
I know, but from day one, you seemed so nice, and I tried to make friends with you so quickly because I knew she'd come after you right away.
What do you mean?
Jasmine and I have been in the same class since kindergarten. She has always kept the girls she was most afraid of close. You know, keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
But I was never her enemy.
She's always been afraid of the smart, pretty girls in our grade. Even if you don't see it, trust me. To her, you were a threat.
Wow, I had no idea. But if I had to go through all that to become friends with you, it was worth it. Suddenly, my phone rang. It was Madame Delacroix. Hello?
Mandy, I'm pleased to inform you that you have been selected for this summer's study abroad in Paris. Pack your bags, mademoiselle. I am so proud.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. I mean, merci beaucoup. When we hung up, I squealed. Oh my God! I'm gonna have a stamp in my passport. Suddenly, Chase's phone rang. And when he saw the caller ID, he looked up at me with a gleam in his eye. I could barely contain my excitement. And when he finally said, "Thank you," and hung up, he turned to me with a huge smile.
Looks like I'll have a matching stamp.
Paris? Together? I threw my arms around him, overjoyed to be off on a big adventure with my favorite first real friend. Hi, I'm Gabrielle, but everyone calls me Gabby. But before I continue my story, click like and subscribe. I've been hearing the story of my birth from Mom ever since I can remember.
Oh, you were so lazy. You came out 3 weeks after my due date, and you were almost 12 pounds. My arms would hurt after holding you for a minute.
You were worth the wait, Gabby. You were just the cutest baby ever. And you still are.
Dad adored me, and so did my older twin siblings. I'm sure Mom loved me too, but she had a funny way of showing it. Once, when I was 3, everyone was eating pizza for dinner, but Mom just kept popping boiled carrots in my mouth. I suddenly leapt onto the table and bit into her pizza slice. She pulled it away, but I clung onto it like a puppy.
What are you doing? Let Gabby have pizza. Come here, sweetie. I'll give you the biggest slice.
Mom looked mad.
She doesn't need more calories. You're turning my daughter into an elephant.
But I didn't care. I was eating pizza. Once on Halloween, I went trick-or-treating with my siblings and came home with my bag full. Everyone said I was so cute, and they gave me extra candy. But Mom snatched it from me.
That's going to make you fat. Just give them to me and leave.
I was really sad that she took it away, but Dad snuck me a few pieces every night. Growing up, Dad and I read lots of books together, and in the 1st grade, I started writing poetry. My teacher entered one of my poems in a school competition, and I won 2nd prize. Dad was so proud, he had it framed for his office. At Thanksgiving dinner, he asked me if I'd recite my poem for everyone, and I was happy to. As everyone clapped for me, grumpy Auntie Polly walked in.
Good God, child. You look like you're about to burst out of your clothes. You've gotten so fat.
That's the first time I saw Dad get really mad.
How dare you say that? She's just a child, and she's perfect.
With that, he picked me up and told my family that we were leaving. In the 5th grade, we were at the beach once, and I was going around happily in my new pink bathing suit. I went over to some girls my age and asked if I could make sandcastles with them, but one of them rudely pushed me away.
We don't play with fat girls. You're ugly.
I burst into tears and ran off, and Dad was furious.
I'm gonna tell those girls exactly what I think. Where are their parents?
Oh, can you stop creating drama everywhere? I told you not to buy her that ridiculous bathing suit, and she does need to lose weight. Of course people will make fun of her.
And that evening, Mom told me I was going on a diet.
Your sibling's 16th birthday is coming up in a few months, and they'll buy you an amazing dress. If you lose some weight, you'll feel so good about yourself.
Later that night, I snuck downstairs to the kitchen and started stuffing my face with crisps and cookies. I had to eat as much as I could before starting Mom's stupid diet. Mom took me to the nutritionist's office the next day, and I instantly disliked Dr. Christine.
Come on, Chubby. Get on the scale. Yes. You're really overweight. You need to lose at least 20 pounds.
Do you think we can manage this by September, Doctor?
It all depends on Gabrielle. But yes, it can be done.
Do you want to lose weight, honey? Do you want to be beautiful for the party?
I remembered the mean girl's words at the beach and said, yeah, I want to be beautiful. So the nutritionist made a special diet for me, and we had to buy all these expensive products from her. I had to eat some special toasts with special cheese, and it tasted disgusting. As I was making faces at the dinner table, Dad ate some food from my plate and almost threw up.
Why are you making Gabby eat this horrible stuff? Just make her some healthy food. She doesn't need to eat rubbish.
No, Daddy, I want to eat this rubbish. I want to be pretty.
But you already are, sweetheart.
It's okay. It's only for a few months. Please.
Don't look at me. She wants to be skinny.
Dad looked kind of sad, but he didn't say anything. After that, I kept doing the awful diet, and I didn't lose an ounce. Not an inch. The day of the big party was approaching, and Mom waited until the very last minute to see if I'd lost some weight. Before she took me shopping, she asked the saleswoman to show us clothes that would look good on me.
Oh, I see what you mean. You want her to look skinny. I might just have the right dress. Why don't you try this, and this, and this?
I tried on all the clothes, and I hated everything. As I was taking off a white dress in the changing room, I overheard something that broke my heart.
How did the dress fit her?
Oh, not very well. That white dress makes the girl look like a small refrigerator. Short and square. I wish she had inherited my figure.
I burst into silent tears. That's what Mom really thought of me. We bought some stupid black dress, and on the day of the party, I held my breath and tucked my tummy in for all the pictures. I just felt ugly and miserable. Being fat didn't affect my ability to love, though. I was falling in love at school all the time, but I'd grown up too insecure and shy to ever ask anyone out, and, well, no one ever noticed me. In the 9th grade, I fell madly in love with James, this gorgeous boy who was 2 years older than me. He played basketball, and I'd watch him from a distance and write poems about him. One day at lunch, someone tapped me on the shoulder, and I almost fell off my seat when I saw it was James.
Hey, you dropped this paper in the hall. Did you write this poem yourself? It's really good.
I just stared at him like a dumb goldfish, and seconds later, a skinny girl took his arm and led him away. I crumpled up the paper and threw it away angrily. Of course, he had a girlfriend who looked like a freaking model. Just then, this annoying bully Aaron from my class sat next to me with a grin.
Ah, Chubby Gabby. You like James, don't you? I've seen how you stare at him every day.
I do not.
I don't care. Girl, you want to get noticed by someone like him? You should hang out with me. I'm like the most popular guy around. Come to a party at my place tonight. James will be there too, and I'll introduce you guys.
But he has a girlfriend.
Oh, that's not his girlfriend. Trust me, he's single.
That offer was too tempting to resist. So I went to the party that evening, and when I got there, the first thing I saw was James dancing with that girl. Aaron, I think those two are together. This is stupid. I'm just gonna go home.
Oh, poor dummy. You don't know the first thing about guys, do you? Give him something to be jealous about, like this.
And suddenly, Aaron pulled me in and kissed me. I immediately shoved him away.
What's wrong with you, Gabrielle? You just show up uninvited at my party, begging to kiss me. Does being fat make you needy and desperate for love?
I stared at him in horror as I felt everyone's eyes on me. You liar! I'd rather kiss a monkey's bud. I gave him a hard slap and then I ran away from there. But since Aaron was a popular jerk, he made sure I became known as the fat, desperate girl, and my self-esteem hit rock bottom. Suddenly, I just lost my appetite and stopped eating. Dad was worried and kept asking me what was wrong, but Mom was delighted when I got skinny.
Wow, Gabby, you look amazing. Wanna go shopping?
No, I'm good, thanks.
But you're in those big clothes.
Fat clothes, you mean?
Why are you talking to me like that? What did I do to you?
Nothing, Mom. You're just perfect. When I went off to college, I finally made some friends there. Suddenly, I fit in the clothes I fit in with others. But then I discovered something. No one here cared about my looks. People were interested in my poetry and the things I had to say, not the way I was on the outside. For the first time, I felt I could breathe. I started relaxing, eating more, and having fun. When I went home for Christmas, I took my coat off and found Mom staring at me like a hawk.
Gabby, did you gain weight?
I don't know, Mom. I didn't check.
But it's such a shame that you're getting fat again, honey. You have to be careful.
So what if I get fat? Will I be ugly, useless, worthless?
What's wrong with you? Are you upset about something?
Mom, I'm mad at you. You made me feel my entire life that being fat is the worst thing in the world. That it's the only thing that defines you. But it's not.
I was only looking out for you. I want you to be healthy.
Are you sure? Because I was unhealthy and miserable when I got skinny, and you weren't bothered about that. The only thing you ever wanted for me was to be pretty, no matter what the cost. You've just never loved me the way I am.
That's not true. I care a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure you care, Mom. Just not in the way that's any good for me. I'm leaving.
Well, we're coming with you. I'd like to enjoy a family dinner for once.
I turned around to see my dad and siblings looking really angry at Mom. We all left without her, and we had an amazing Christmas dinner at a restaurant. As Dad dropped me off at college, he put his hands on my face and said,
I'm so proud of how smart and strong you are. And I'm glad you're realizing your own worth. You are and always will be perfect to me.
Time passed, and I gained and lost weight all the time. And even though my confidence was better, I still had a hard time believing that someone could love me just the way I was. But one day, someone tapped my shoulder at the supermarket.
Hey, Gabrielle, right?
Oh yeah, hi, I'm sorry. Who are you?
James from school, remember? I think I was your senior. I recognized you because you still have those beautiful eyes.
Oh my God, it was James, the James! We went out for coffee the same day and talked for hours over chocolate cake. I even shared the poems I was writing for my first book. It was perfect. And soon after, we started dating. Slowly, but surely, I was changing and fixing the damage. My mother still gives opinions about my body all the time, but she no longer affects me. I finally understood that her problem was about her own insecurities. Now I love myself just the way I am when I'm skinny and when I'm fat. Also, I have this wonderful man next to me who isn't shallow at all. He knows how to love unconditionally. After so much suffering, I now know I am beautiful no matter what. Hi, I'm Juliet from LA. But thanks to my mom, I had to change my identity and become Jessica. Before I continue, please like and subscribe. My mom is French, and she moved to the US before I was born to become a successful actress. And she did get super famous. Her life was always in the spotlight, and that included me. I always loved the attention, and when I joined school, everyone knew me and wanted to be my friend. It was awesome, until one day, it wasn't. I was in the 5th grade when Mom took me to the opening of a fancy French restaurant. But when the head chef brought our food, I almost threw up. What is that?
Frog legs and baby snails, mademoiselle.
Ew! Gross! Could I just have some French fries, please? The chef gasped like I'd killed his mother.
You insult me. I make the best French food in the world.
So I asked for French fries.
I don't make French fries.
I'm going to McDonald's. You suck. I jumped off my chair and started running out to my car. Suddenly, I tripped and crashed straight into a waiter, and we both landed flat on our faces. I turned around to see everyone staring at me, and Mom looked mad. Okay, this was embarrassing, but who cares if some strangers saw me, right? Wrong. The next day, it was all over tabloid magazines and the internet. Pictures of me on the floor with my butt cheeks showing. And in school, I was the butt of every joke. Literally. I was hating school now, but I found a way to escape. Soon, Mom was going abroad to film a movie for 6 months, and I begged her to take me along. And, well, I just never returned. I traveled the world with my mom and had private tutors, and when I turned 13, I got into modeling myself. Once, when I was 15, I was lounging in a pool chair when suddenly a puppy leapt at me and I screamed as it started chasing me. I ran indoors and crashed straight into someone, a rather cute, nerdy-looking boy. I muttered an apology and was walking away when he called out,
Hey, look, it's Beyonce.
"Oh my God! Where?
I don't really know why I said that. Hi, I'm Michael, a huge fan.
We actually ended up having dinner together, and it was the best time I'd had in ages. He was funny and clearly smitten with me. Later that night, I realized what was missing from my life: a boyfriend. Maybe it was time to go back to high school and get one. It would be easy for a famous teen model, right? Wrong. When we got back to LA, Mom had some shocking news for me. Turns out she had a new life plan, and that was Tariq, an Arab billionaire who was obsessed with her. They were getting married, and she was leaving her whole life behind, including me. What? How could you do that?
Oh, you know Tariq doesn't want any kids.
But how will I live on my own?
You'll be living with your aunt. You're young, with years of fame ahead, mon chéri. I have to think of myself now. My looks aren't gonna last forever.
That was the worst thing that ever happened to me. Nope, wrong again. 2 days after their wedding, I woke up to hundreds of tags on Instagram. Apparently, Tariq was a diamond smuggler, and both he and Mom had been arrested in an airport. After that, my life was a mess. I couldn't go anywhere without being hounded by reporters.
How does it feel to be a criminal's daughter? Did you know anything?
Did your mother just abandon you and leave you with that crook?
It looked like any chance of going to high school and having a normal life was ruined. But then, I decided I wasn't gonna let all this stop me. There was one solution. I talked to Aunt about it, and she agreed. She hooked me up with hair and makeup professionals and a plastic surgeon. After dyeing my hair, learning how to put on makeup, and getting a nose job, I was unrecognizable. Now I was just a nobody named Jessica. Without my fame to fall back on, I was feeling lost on my first day of school. Just then, I saw a pretty girl standing by the notice board, and I walked up to her. "Hi, I'm Jessica, and,
why are you talking to me?
I'm new here, and I was wondering if you'd help me find my class."
I'm new too. How should I know?
Right? Well, thanks anyway.
Okay, I'll be your friend. You don't have to beg. I'm Ashley, and I'll help you. You're welcome.
Ashley was kinda weird, but I was just glad to have a friend. And as we hung out more, I realized the tough, mean girl thing was just an act. A week later, I signed up for a charity bake sale in school. As Ashley helped me set up my stall, she popped a cookie in her mouth.
So yum. I'll buy all of them.
What? That's like 200 cookies.
It's for a good cause. Here, take my money.
What's wrong with my cookies, Ashley?
Nothing.
But I took a big bite of one and spat it out. That's disgusting. Did I use salt instead of sugar? Ashley burst out laughing, and so did I. You bought them all because they're so terrible. That's actually really sweet.
Unlike your cookies. You got some crumbs?
As Ashley brushed them off my mouth, I suddenly felt butterflies. What the heck? And that's when a flying basketball hit me right in the face and I blacked out. I opened my eyes to find myself in the nurse's room and two faces around me. One was Ashley and the other was Michael.
Thank God you're awake. I'm so sorry, Jessica. Right.
I wasn't imagining it. It really was Michael, and even cuter than I remembered. But he didn't know who I was, so I was really surprised when he said,
I feel terrible. Could I make this up to you by taking you out for dinner sometime?
As we exchanged numbers and he left, Ashley looked really annoyed.
Jessica, you don't even know the guy.
I'll get to know him when I date him. What's the matter, Ash?
Nothing. Whatever.
I started seeing Michael, and I was quite enjoying it, except that ever since he came along, I could feel Ashley being distant, and that was bothering me. One evening, when Michael dropped me at home, he suddenly drew me close.
Jessica, I really like you. I think I'm falling for you.
And then he kissed me. It was my very first kiss, and it was lovely. When I went to my room, I nearly screamed. Ashley was sitting on my bed, looking livid. Geez, you scared me. So you avoid me in school but break into my room. What's your problem anyway?
I don't want you dating Michael.
Why? Do you like him?
No, you idiot. I like you.
Oh, that does make more sense.
I know you're with Michael and I'm happy for you. Blah, blah, blah. But I just had to tell you. I guess we'll only be friends then.
But she came closer, and suddenly, she was kissing me. It was my very first kiss with a girl, and it was lovely. Just then, someone tapped on the window, and it was Michael looking mad.
You forgot your scarf. Want to tell me what's going on here?
As the two stared at me, I sank down on my bed. Guys, I'm so confused. I like you, Michael, really, but I like Ashley too. I know you two won't wait around for me to decide.
Oh, I will. I'm not giving up on us so easily.
Yeah, me neither. Why don't you date both of us for 2 weeks and then decide? Jess.
Wow, they were both willing to fight for me. This was amazing, and I agreed.
May the best man win.
Or woman.
My first date of the week was with Ashley, and she'd planned an amazing picnic. She fed me strawberries and read me poetry. It was so romantic. Just then, someone came and sat down next to us.
Fancy bumping into you guys here. I was just on my run.
Then why don't you run away and keep going till we can't see you?
Relax, I'm leaving. Oh, Jess, I gotta tell you what I've got planned for our date. It's epic.
He whipped out 2 tickets from his pocket for a Beyoncé concert. I shrieked and hugged him, but quickly pushed him away when I saw Ashley's face. The next night, I was having a blast at the concert with Michael when someone touched my shoulder. It was Ashley.
You're crashing our date?
Wonder where I got that idea from. But this isn't about you, dude. Jess, I got my dad to pull some strings and I have backstage passes. We can actually meet Beyoncé.
OMG, what?
What about me?
I don't know. Go home. I'll have Jessica dropped. Don't worry.
I felt sorry for poor Michael, but I wasn't missing a chance to meet Queen Bee. The next few days went the same way. They both kept planning amazing dates for me and kept ruining them for each other. One night, Ashley and I managed to have a romantic dinner without Michael dropping in, and she was kissing me goodnight at my door when suddenly the locket I was wearing got tangled with hers and fell off before I could pick it up. She did, and saw the picture inside.
Jess, why do you have a picture of this famous actress and her kid?
I should have lied, but I just didn't want to. That kid, it's me. And she's my mom. I told her how hard things got after Mom's arrest and how I just wanted a fresh start. She looked stunned, but then she hugged me tight.
Your secret's safe with me, Jessica. Or can I call you Juliet?
I think I'd like that. She was about to kiss me again when suddenly Michael sprang out of nowhere.
Hey, babe. I just dropped by with some cookie dough ice cream. Your favorite.
She just had dessert. She doesn't want your stupid ice cream.
Why don't you let her speak for yourself? Are you her lawyer?
Why don't you get a life and stop crashing our dates?
Why don't you jump off a bridge?
Enough! I'm so tired of this. You're so busy fighting each other, no one's even looking at me. This is not what I wanted. Figure out a way to make this work, or I'm done with you both. I snatched the ice cream from Michael and stormed off. They were being so annoying. But the next day, that was the least of my problems. Aunt woke me up to see the news, and I watched in horror. My secret was out. It was everywhere, and hundreds of reporters were gathered outside of our house, wanting to talk to me. What a nightmare. But what really hurt was that there was only one person who could have leaked that information. Ashley, how could you do this? I trusted you, and you took less than a second to betray me. How much did you get paid for this, Ashley?
I swear, Juliet, I didn't do it.
There's no one else who could. Stop lying, and don't ever talk to me again. Later that night, once all the media people had left, Michael paid me a visit.
How could you lie about this, Juliet? You should have told me who you really are.
Why? I didn't want to be that person anymore, and I just didn't want to tell anyone.
Obviously you told someone, it just wasn't me.
Michael, please!
Forget it, you lied to me. We're done.
In a day, I'd lost both my boyfriend and girlfriend, but I was too angry to care. Michael was only thinking of himself and not what I was going through. And Ashley, I'd never forgive her. One day, as I was wondering what I'd do next, I got the most unexpected call.
Oh, Juliet, I've missed you.
Mom, where are you? Mom then told me she got out of jail, got a divorce from Tariq, and settled in Paris.
I'm so sorry for leaving you and for everything I've put you through. I read all the news, but I must say, you're even prettier with your new nose job.
Why did you call me Mom?
Come to Paris, mon chéri. I know lots of agents here, and they would love to sign you. Don't hide away and waste your talent. You were meant to be a model.
I was still so mad at her, but I had to think about it. I was done with this place, and to be honest, I did miss my career. Maybe Paris was exactly what I needed. I still don't trust you, Mom, and don't expect that I'll forgive you anytime soon. But I did pack my bags for Paris, and I ended up loving it there. I joined the high school, and my modeling was picking up once more. Then one day, I read the most surprising news. The plastic surgeon who'd done my nose job was being sued for leaking the identities of many clients to the press. Oh my God, it was him, not Ashley. Just then, I heard the doorbell ring, and I opened the door to find Ashley standing there. Hi, how did you find me?
I begged your aunt to tell me. Juliet, I didn't betray you.
I know that now. I'm sorry.
Don't be. It's okay. Just tell me this. If none of this had happened, who would have won? Me or Michael?
Michael wasn't even close. It was you, Ashley. It's you. And then I kissed her.
Hi, my name is Pomni, from Norway, and I never thought anyone noticed me. Not until I met the sleeping boy. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start at the beginning. Like and subscribe. You won't regret it. Growing up, the only person who ever noticed me was my big sister, Ragatha. My mom traveled for work so much that I even called Ragatha Mom. When I was too little to understand what was going on, my sister would take me to school, where I would sit in silence and never say a word to anyone until she picked me up again. And then I wouldn't shut up the whole way home. But she didn't mind. She liked hearing me talk, and she liked playing games with me, like making me look like one of her dolls. She would also give me a makeover using our mom's makeup. Or dress me up as a monster and have me chase her around the house. Roar! I'm gonna eat your head.
My head?
Yeah, it's the yummiest part.
You really are a little monster.
Roar! When we got older, our mom moved to another country for work. She asked if we wanted to come, but we decided to stay. Ragatha had graduated from university and had a real job now, so we didn't have much time to hang out. But every Friday, I would wait for her at the train station near my school for when she got out of work. And we would hang out all weekend. And even though we grew up, nothing really changed. Except now we didn't play dress up anymore. Now we dressed up for real to go out to dinner, or the arcade, or whatever we wanted. We had the best life. The only problem was, I was still too shy to talk to anyone, especially boys. One time when we were at the arcade, I saw a boy staring at us. Ragatha elbowed me.
He's looking at you, Pomni. Go talk to him.
My cheeks got so red, my hands all clammy. I suddenly froze up and couldn't even play the games anymore.
Okay. Let's go home. You don't have to talk to any boys. But you know, it would make me really happy if you tried at least once for me.
Maybe you can talk to a boy for me. Then I won't have to do any work. She gave me a dirty look, but she was only kidding. I knew she was right. I just had no idea how I would ever talk to a boy. Then one Friday, the train that was supposed to arrive didn't come.
And suddenly, I got a really bad feeling. After 30 minutes, the train finally came, but Ragatha wasn't on it. I called and called, but she didn't answer. Then finally, I got a call, but it was from a random number.
Hello? Is this Ragatha's sister, Pomni? This is the hospital. Your sister was in an accident. She's in a coma.
All the air left my lungs. In the hospital, I found her lying there with her head bandaged. She looked like she was sleeping. They didn't know how, but she fell onto the tracks and hit her head. The doctor said it was impossible to know when she would wake up. From that day on, I started visiting her every day. I usually read to her, but one day I forgot my book, so I just talked. And when I left, I ran into the nurse in the hallway.
If you have time, maybe you can talk to him too. He's in a coma, like your sister. I think he was part of the accident she was involved with.
He was?
I think so, but we don't know who he is. He didn't have any ID when he was brought in.
He had no one to visit him. I felt so sad. I imagined my sister being here all alone, with no one to talk to her all day. Before I knew it, I was in his room. He looked a couple of years older than me. I sat down beside his bed, and without even realizing it, I was just talking to him, just like I talked to Ragatha. 30 minutes later, I was finally out of things to talk about. That's when I realized something. You know, you're the only boy I've ever talked to. You're a really good listener. I started bringing 2 books to the hospital every day after that. One for my sister, and one for the boy with no name. Something strange happened after I was reading to him for a few days. Every night when I went home, I would think about him and even dream that we met and talked and fell in love. I realized it was ridiculous to fall in love with someone I didn't even know. And the next day, when I read to him, I tried to push the thoughts away. But for some reason, I just couldn't help but think maybe it was love at first sight. That night, I decided to leave the book I had been reading to him in the hospital closet so I wouldn't forget it. But when I opened it, I saw there was a leather sketchbook inside. I opened it and saw that it was drawings of people at the train station. Every page was a different person. I flipped until I found my sister. I couldn't believe it. I realized then that the nurse was right. They must have been in the same accident. And it gave me a great idea. Maybe if I could find out what happened, I could find out who he was. I went to the train station from his drawings. It was the same one Ragatha used to come and see me after work on Fridays. I saw a woman waiting for the train. Excuse me, do you know about an accident that happened here a few weeks ago?
Yes, I was here. A young woman fell from the platform as the train was coming and she hit her head. She would have died. But then the boy jumped down and picked her up. But as he pulled her away, the side of the train hit his back and he fell too.
Whoa! The boy I had been reading to all this time had saved my sister's life. Maybe I wasn't so ridiculous for having feelings for him. Maybe it was destiny. Then the woman pointed to an elderly lady.
That older woman. I think it's the boy's grandmother. She's been coming here every day waiting for him. We tell her he's in the hospital, but she doesn't remember.
I was so sad to see her waiting there for him. I wanted to tell her what happened. Excuse me, ma'am. Are you waiting for your grandson?
Yes, he's never late.
I don't know what happened, but I decided if she couldn't remember anything, maybe it wasn't a good idea to tell her something so terrible, like he's in a coma and might never wake up. But I couldn't leave her there like that, waiting for him. She had a cane and looked very weak. I'm sure he'll come home soon. Can I help you get home? I walked with her as she told me stories about how kind and wonderful her grandson was.
His name is Oscar. He's always drawing. He takes care of me.
With every word she spoke about him, I was falling more and more in love. But then I realized, oh no! Without him, she had no one to take care of her. After I walked her home, I went to the market and bought a bunch of food and took it to her house, where we both cooked while she told me more stories about him.
I always tell him he needs to meet a girl and have a life of his own. But he says he doesn't have time for girls. He says it's because of his work. But I know it's because he takes care of me every day. But there is one girl he likes a lot. He always draws her. See?
She pointed to a stack of drawings. I looked through them all. They were all of Ragatha waiting at the train station. I couldn't believe it. He was in love with her. My heart broke into a million pieces. The love I felt for him, it was all for nothing. And what was worse, if they both woke up, they would probably end up together, and I would have to watch. Still, I couldn't let his grandmother be alone, with no one to take care of her. So every day I would take the train and find her there waiting for him. And every day we would cook while she told me stories about how wonderful he was. I had to smile, but I wanted to cry. And every night after visiting her, that's exactly what I did. I cried on the train ride home, on the walk, and in my bed. And every day I would get up, go to the hospital, read to my sister, and then read to him. And then one day, I stopped reading and just talked. You know, Oscar, you're still the only boy I've ever talked to. And to be honest, the only boy I've ever loved. When you wake up, everything will be different. I'll miss spending time with you, but I hope we can at least be friends. One night, while I was sleeping, I got a phone call. Hello?
Fantastic news! Your sister woke up and she's doing really well.
I ran to the hospital and found her sitting there eating pudding. She smiled big when she saw me. I hugged her so tight, she begged me to let go. Before we left, I asked the nurse, "Can I come back to see him again?"
I'm sorry, but we don't allow anyone up here except family. I wasn't supposed to let you visit him at all, but I felt so bad.
Oh, I see. Can I say goodbye? She nodded, and I went to Oscar's room. When you wake up, I'll make sure you and my sister meet again. Oh, and don't worry. I'll take care of your grandmother until then. Goodbye, sleeping boy. I asked if Ragatha remembered anything, but she didn't. I heard a boy saved your life when you fell?
Really? I would love to meet him one day.
I'm sure you will. Fate has a way of making things happen. After that, Ragatha was still too hurt to work, so she just lived with me. But I kept seeing Oscar's grandmother every day to make sure she ate and was doing okay. One day, I knocked on his grandmother's door, and when it opened, it wasn't her on the other side. It was Oscar. I am.
Hello! Are you looking for my grandmother?
Yes.
She told me someone was taking care of her while I was sick, but she couldn't remember your name. Thank you.
Then he gave me a big hug, and all the thoughts I was trying to push away about being in love with him came back. He invited me inside, and we all had dinner. And this time, he had done all the cooking, and it was still delicious. While we sat and ate, I realized all the stories his grandmother had told about him were true. He was kind, sweet, funny. Then he asked me to wait while he put her to bed. After, he asked if we could talk outside. I said yes, but to my surprise, instead of going out the door, he went to a ladder that led up to the attic. Wait, why up there?
This is where I go to draw when my grandmother goes to bed, and tonight there will be fireworks.
He went up, and I followed him, even though I hated heights. He led me to a window and stepped out. He sat on the roof, and I sat beside him, looking over the faraway city. The lights twinkled like stars.
So how did you meet my grandmother?
Oh no! I hadn't thought about this part. If I told him the truth, I would have to say that I read to him in the hospital. At the train station. She was always waiting for you. Which wasn't a lie exactly. But now that meant I couldn't even tell him thank you for saving my sister's life. Maybe if I ask him about the accident, it will all come out naturally. But he said he couldn't remember what had happened. I felt so foolish for not telling him the truth, just to save myself from a little embarrassment. All he did was be nice to me. I decided I owed him for saving Regatha. So even though I would be humiliated and look stupid, I would tell him the truth. But before I could, he said,
I kind of remember a little. There was this girl. I think she fell. I was in love with her.
I know.
You know? How could you know?
I saw your drawing of her. Your grandmother showed me. You were in love with her. That's why you jumped and saved her.
Actually, no. I was in love with her sister.
I couldn't breathe. Did he just say what I think he said? He looked down at the ground and said,
Every Friday, the girl from my drawings and I would get on the same train. Sometimes we talked a little. She said she was meeting her sister, and she started telling me about her, what she was like. She was cool and funny, and when she would get off, her sister would meet her. And I guess it was love at first sight, like we were meant to be. Sorry, I must sound stupid.
Good thing he wasn't looking at me. Or maybe he would have seen the hearts in my eyes. Why did you draw her sister and not the girl you liked?
I only saw her for a few seconds every day, but I always tried.
Then he showed me his book of drawings, and all the way in the back, there were drawings of parts of a girl. Never the full picture since he drew from memory but never saw her fully. It was me! I couldn't believe it!
After the accident, I can't remember what they looked like. I went to the station today, but I didn't see anyone who could have been her or her sister. I guess I'll never see her again.
Actually, you're looking at her right now. He turned to me, confused, and then his eyes lit up as he recognized me.
But how? I don't understand.
I put my hand on his and kissed him. Just then, the sky exploded with fireworks. I pulled away and looked into his eyes. It's a little complicated. Let's just say I took care of you.
Hi, my name is Callista, and I'm from Seattle. Please like and subscribe. I don't remember my dad, because soon after I was born, my parents got divorced. Mom got full custody of me since I was only a baby. She moved to Seattle for a fresh start and started working at a big law firm, but I never knew what happened to my dad. Growing up, Mom worked really hard to look after me and never really had any time for herself. And since she had no other family, I made sure I loved her enough for everyone. Surprise! Happy birthday, Mom!
Oh, sweetie, you're the best daughter in the world. I love you so much.
Once, when I was 8, Mom took me to a picnic at a nearby park. As I was playing hide and seek with her, a girl came and sat right next to me. Hey, what are you doing? Go away! There's only room for one person to hide here.
Yeah, that's why you leave, because this is my spot.
Saying that, she elbowed me, and I fell to the ground flat on my butt. Ah! I grabbed her hair and she screamed. Minutes later, the adults came running, but instead of separating us, Mom freaked out seeing the man.
You, what are you doing here?
Oh, Amber, it's been so long. Where have you been? I tried to reach you, but oh my God, is this Callista?
He suddenly lifted me up in his arms.
Oh, honey, this is your stepsister Lisa and I. I'm your dad.
My what? No, you're not. Get away from my daughter.
Mom snatched me from his arms and took me back home. Mom, what's happening? That man was my dad. Why are we running away from Dad?
Don't call him your dad. He's a terrible father, and he was a terrible husband. Just forget about him, okay?
She looked super mad and shut herself up in her room. The next day, when I was coming back from school, Dad was waiting for me with Lisa. He had gifts and balloons in his hand.
Oh, Callista, here you go. Listen, I'm sorry I didn't come to see you before.
Why? Why didn't you come to see me before?
Sweetheart, I can't tell you. It was just awful. But I'm here now. Please give me a chance to make it up to.
He seemed so sweet, and I couldn't help thinking that it would be nice to have a dad like the other kids. Just then, Lisa stepped forward and apologized to me.
I'm sorry, Callie. I shouldn't have hit you the other day. Dad told me you're my elder sister. Do you want to be friends?
I shook her hand, and we both smiled. Later, Dad took both of us for some ice cream, and we all had a blast. But when he dropped me back home and I went inside, Mom went bonkers on me.
Oh my God, do you have any idea how worried I was? Callie, I went to pick you up but you weren't there. And now you're coming home with that jerk, and what's all this?
I'm sorry, Mom, but Dad came to pick me up at school and he got me all this. Suddenly, she snatched everything from my hand and shoved it into the fireplace. Mom, no!
He's trying to buy your love with all these gifts. He's not a good person, Callie, and he doesn't care about you.
Why do you say that, Mom? What did he do?
I can't tell you. It was awful. Just trust me, okay? He and his family are evil.
But Mom, Lisa is...
You think she's any good? No! Lisa and her mom are horrible people just like him. And now he's back thinking he can just take you away from me.
Mom burst into tears and fell to the ground. I went ahead and hugged her tight. I'm sorry, Mom. I had no idea they were so bad and that you'd be so hurt. Please don't cry. No one's taking me. I love you the most. That night, I snuggled into Mom's bed and slept with her. And she looked happy, but I couldn't stop thinking, what weren't my parents telling me? The next day, I was sitting in my classroom working on my project when Lisa came running to me.
Hey, sis! Dad asked me to give you these cupcakes, and we can hang out at lunch.
Go away, Lisa, and take your stupid stuff with you. I don't want anything to do with you ever again. I got up from my seat in anger, and somehow my chair hit Lisa, and she fell to the ground with all the cupcakes all over her. Everyone gasped, and Lisa looked so embarrassed.
You're so mean, Callista. I'm gonna kill you.
She leapt forward and pushed my project model to the ground, smashing it to bits. I grabbed her hair, and we broke into a wild fight. The teachers came running and pulled us apart, and then our parents were called in. Dad was the first one to arrive, and he instantly hugged Lisa.
What happened, sweetie? Are you okay?
Mom was right. He didn't even look at me. He didn't care about me. And then Lisa told him I pushed her on purpose. That lying witch.
Callista, how can you hit your own sis?
She's not my sister, and you're not my dad. Do you understand me? Just stay away from me. I ran out of there in angry tears, and after that, even though Dad tried to talk to me, I completely refused to. But he still sent me gifts on Christmas and my birthdays that I always hid from Mom. For some reason, I just couldn't throw them away. Time went by, but Lisa was still there at school with me, and no matter how much I tried to avoid her, she'd somehow managed to always be in my face. In the 8th grade, we both joined the dance club. But when it was time to select the lead dancer for an upcoming event, the teachers chose me, and Lisa looked super pissed. A day before the competition, I was in the changing room when someone locked the door from outside and turned off the lights. What in the world? I tried to make my way around in the dark. Then I tripped over something and landed on the floor. Minutes later, Lisa and her nasty friends opened the door, and they were all laughing at me.
Seems like you won't be able to dance now, loser.
You witch! I'll make you pay for this. Ouch! I sprained my ankle pretty bad. And just like that, Lisa grabbed the role of the lead dancer. But I wasn't going to let her get away with it. While Lisa was performing on stage, I cut the cable wires and the music stopped. And so did Lisa. Her performance was spoiled, and I even paid some kids to throw rotten tomatoes and eggs at her. Seeing her screaming and running off the stage was awesome. A few weeks later, our school had organized an adventure camping trip that I immediately signed up for. And I was so annoyed to see Lisa had too. But the worst was when the teacher announced the teammates' names, and mine was frickin' Lisa. We both ran to the teacher and begged her to change that, but she just wouldn't.
It's either this, or you go back home because nobody else wants to switch.
This was a nightmare! When we went to our tent, I dropped my luggage on the right bed, but Lisa picked it up and threw it on the left. What are you doing?
If a wild animal comes in at night, the left bed is closer to the door. So he'll eat you first while I run away.
Huh? Why should I get eaten? You get eaten. Saying saying that. I picked up my luggage and put it back, and she kicked me. I kicked her right back, and we got into a fight. And just like that, our tent broke down. The teacher glared at us and made us sleep under the sky. The next day, we had to perform a few tasks as a team. The first one was tree climbing, but as I was climbing, Lisa pulled me down by my foot and I fell to the ground. She giggled and started going up, but I grabbed a handful of mud and threw it at her face. She lost balance and fell right next to me. Of course we were disqualified. With nothing to do, I decided to take a nap while Lisa sat by the lake. But all of a sudden, I woke up to screams. I went running and saw Lisa was in the lake struggling to swim, and everyone else was just watching. As I ran forward, someone tried to stop me.
There may be alligators in that lake. Wait for the teachers.
I just pushed her aside and jumped into the water, pulling Lisa out. The teachers came running and took us to the nurse, but thankfully, Lisa was completely unhurt, just really shaken. Later that night, Lisa came to the tent and just hugged me.
Thank you, Callista. If it weren't for you, I don't think I'd be here. Nobody tried to help me, not even my friends. But you did.
I couldn't let you torture the alligators in the water. And then we both burst out laughing. By the time we were back from the trip, Lisa and I had become good friends. Dad was there to pick her up after the trip, and Lisa told him everything. And then he walked towards me.
Oh, Callista, how can I ever thank you? You saved your little sister. Do you think you could give me another chance too?
Are you still not gonna tell me why you never got in touch? Mom won't tell me.
Then I can't either, sweetheart, but we can still get to know each other.
What was the big secret? I'm not sure, but maybe I'll try. The next week, Lisa and I spent time together in school, almost like besties. She even brought me cookies that her mom made especially for me, and I loved them. A few days later, she invited me for Christmas dinner at her place. At first, I was hesitant, but since Mom always worked extra shifts on Christmas and I mostly spent them alone, I decided to go. When I reached there, everything looked so amazing. Dad and Lisa were putting the decorations on the Christmas tree, and they looked so happy. I went in, and Lisa's mom opened the door, and to my surprise, she was very warm and welcoming to me.
Come in, darling. We've been waiting for you.
Merry Christmas, Mrs.
Oh, just call me Mom, Aunt, whatever you feel comfortable with.
Dad came running to me and hugged me too.
I'm so glad you came, Callie. You have no idea how long I've waited for us to get together as a family.
I was really touched by their lovely welcome. And when it was time for gifts, I saw they'd gotten me the best presents ever. Later, when we sat down for dinner and everyone was laughing and talking, I couldn't help thinking that this is what a perfect family felt like. Something I'd always craved for deep in my heart. But just then, the door flew open and Mom barged in.
How dare you people try to take my daughter away from me? Callie, I know these people tricked you into coming here. Let's leave now.
Mom took my hand and started pulling me out, but I pulled my arm away and stepped back.
Callie, what? What are you doing?
No one tricked me into coming here, Mom. I came because I wanted to. And these people aren't strangers. They're my family.
What are you talking about? Your dad never cared about you, and now these people have brainwashed you.
Amber, that's not fair.
You have your family. What do you want with mine?
Mom, stop. You brainwashed me. You always told me they were evil, but the last few weeks, I've received nothing but love from them. Today, I realized how happy it felt to be among family. And as much as I love you, I want this too. Mom, why can't I have both?
Well, you can't. You have to choose. It's me or him. Are you coming or not?
But when I didn't move, she stormed off angrily. I felt unhappy, but I wasn't going to let her emotionally blackmail me. Mom refused to talk to me for the next few weeks, and I did the same. She threw herself even more into her work, and I'd hardly see her around. But then one day, I got a call from her office. She'd fainted and been taken to the hospital. I called Dad, and immediately he took me there. The doctor said she'd overworked herself and had a breakdown.
Just make sure she rests for the next few weeks and has nothing to worry about.
Before I went to see Mom, I turned to Dad. I need to know. Just tell me what happened between you and Mom, please. Dad looked at me and sighed.
I didn't want to be the one to tell you this, Callie, but your mom became a bit crazy. She would throw tantrums over the smallest things, and she didn't trust me at all. We were miserable and fighting all the time. And once we got divorced, she was so possessive about you. She just changed her address and numbers and wouldn't let me see you. But I'm still sorry because I should have tried harder for you.
So finally I knew! I felt sad to hear Mom had been that way and how she had ended things with my dad. The next few weeks, I made sure Mom stayed put in that bed. Lisa helped me with all my schoolwork, while Dad made sure we had everything we needed. His wife even came over often to cook and clean for us. And I was so grateful that I didn't have to deal with all this alone. A couple of weeks later, I was reading by Mom's bedside when suddenly she took my hand.
Callista, I've had a lot of time to think, and I really owe you an apology, honey. I'm sorry for keeping you away from your dad. He did try to get in touch.
Mom, it's okay. I know. Dad told me everything.
I know I drove him away. And then I got even more bitter, and he'd moved on and married someone. It made me crazier, and you were all I had. I just didn't want you to get close to him. I think I need therapy. Callie, I know your dad cares about you, and it actually feels nice to know that there was someone to take care of us while I was sick. I'll be better. I won't make you choose again. You deserve a family.
So do you. And we're all here to help. I love you, Mom.